One sample, independent and paired t-tests in SPSS, assumptions and Welch test explained. Hey friends, welcome back to StatSense. In today's video, we are learning how to compare means in SPSS using three types of t-test: one sample t-test, independent samples t-test, and paired sample t-test. We will also talk about the assumptions behind each test and what to do if they are valid, including using Welch's correction. And as always, I will use my own data set with weight, height, and gender to show real examples, like, do men and women have different average weights? Or is the average weight in my sample different from 70 kilogram? Let's dive in. One sample t-test. This test helps you compare the mean of your sample to a known or hypothesized value. Let's say we want to test whether the average weight in our sample is different from 70 kilogram. How to do it in SPSS? Go to Analyze, Compare Mean, and One Sample t-test. Move weight into the test variable box, and in the test value field, enter 70 and click OK. In the output, look at the p-value. Look at the p-value. In the SIG two tails column, if p less than 0.05, your sample mean is significantly different from 70 kilogram, and for this case is more than 0.05. Next, independent sample t-test. Now, let's compare average weights between male and females using the independent t-test. This is for comparing two separate groups. How to do it in SPSS? Go to Analyze, Compare Means, and Independent Samples t-test. Then, move weight into test variables box and gender to grouping variables and define groups 1 and 2. Continue and click OK. In the result, first check Levin's test for equalia variances. If P in this box, SIG, if P greater than 0.05, variances are equal. Use the first row and this SIG. And if the P less than 0.05, use Welch's test, second row, this SIG. This test answers, is the difference in average weight between men and women statistically significant? No. Paired samples t-test. This test is used when you have two measurements on the same subject. For example, weight before and after a diet. How to do it in SPSS? Go to Analyze, Compare Means, and Paired Sample t-test. And move weight before and weight after a diet, weight pre and weight post, into the paired variables box and click OK. In the output, we use the SIG. SPSS will tell you whether the average change is statistically significant. Assumptions for t-tests. Before using any t-test, make sure these assumptions are met. Test type, one sample t-test, assumptions, normality of the variable. Test type, independent t-test, assumptions, normality in both group and equal variances. And type test, pair t-test, assumptions, normality of the difference between the two related measures. To check normality, refer back to video 2, where we use Shapiro-Wilks, QQ plot, and skewness and kurtosis to check if the data is approximately normal. If your data is not normal or variances are not equal, don't worry, you have alternatives. Coming next, non-parametric alternatives. If the assumptions above aren't met, we will use non-parametric tests. Instead of independent t-test, use the Mann-Whitney U-test. Instead of pair t-test, use the Wilcoxon signed rank test. And instead of one sample t-test, use the one sample Wilcoxon signed rank test. I will explain all of this in the next video, so stay tuned.